Hello. Thank you for joining the San Diego Public Library Foundation this evening for an opportunity to join the community of library lovers to ring in a hopeful new year together. My name is Natalie Gantz. I am the Library Foundation's Chief Strategy and Engagement Officer, and on behalf of the Library Foundation's Board of Trustees and our staff, I would like to welcome you to this very special program. Tonight, we are joined by Wendy Urashima-Khan, Secretary of the Library Foundation's Board of Trustees and Chair of San Diego's Library Commission. Wendy will moderate a conversation between San Diego City Librarian Misty Jones and Library Foundation CEO Patrick Stewart. This conversation will take a look back to celebrate the impact of Library and Library Foundation of the Library and Library Foundation throughout 2020, and we will set the stage for hopeful vision for these organizations in the coming year. To help us pivot between our look back and our look ahead portions of the program, librarians Kent Tran and Marissa Carlson Flores will guide us in an origami crane folding activity. Origami cranes are symbols of hope, peace, health, and good luck, and you can contribute to the library's Cranes for Peace project by contributing your crane at any one of San Diego Public Libraries. You will need a square piece of paper for this, but if you do not have paper handy or if you miss any of the instructions, we have you covered. We will put links to the instructions in the chat, and we will also send the instructions as well as a recording of this program to you by email. Throughout the program, please contribute your questions for our speakers in the chat. I will read them toward the end of the program. And also, if you have a comment that you want to share, please use the chat for that also. With that, I will pass the spotlight to Wendy.
Thank you, Natalie. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today. I have been practicing my origami folding since I was about 6 years old. And so far, I've been practicing all day, and all I've managed to make is a paper airplane. So it is wonderful that we have experts teaching today. It will not be me, but I'm just so thrilled. You know, it's been a really nutty year. And I'm just so thankful for our library. And I see our lovely Misty Jones, hardest working person probably on the planet, next to the person next to her, Patrick with our foundation. You know, you talk about there's still so much bright things happening in the world, and we get to share just a little bit of that with you tonight. And the other good thing about today, it's the end of the year, so whatever you ate for Christmas and Hanukkah, all those calories are out the door because we're starting a new year and we're starting a great evening. So welcome. So to get us started, let's go to Patrick. Patrick, can you just tell us why the foundation went with the Hopeful New Year as the theme for this year's year-end event, and how does it tie to what we've all experienced in 2020, which I know has been a little bit nutty as an understatement?
As an understatement. Well, yeah, sure, certainly. Thank you, Wendy, and I want to thank everyone also for taking time out of your holidays to join us this afternoon. You know, so like Wendy said, our intention here is to set a hopeful tone for the new year. You know, libraries play such a powerful and essential role in our lives and in our communities, from supporting education and arts and culture and economic development and creating a general sense of, you know, connectedness. When I look back at 2020 and I see just how quickly and thoughtfully the library was able to pivot to a new model of program design and delivery, and how library patrons embrace this model, it reminds me that librarians are truly the superheroes of our community, really. And they, you know, they're looked upon to really drive these connections. And I believe that, you know, particularly in these uncertain times, it is important, more so than ever, to recognize those people and those institutions that bring you a sense of peace and of stability. And, you know, for the library has always been there. It's there now, and it will be there for us in the future. And that, for us, gives us a great deal of hope.
Well said, Patrick. Thank you. So I know, we love the library and the foundation, and sometimes people aren't sure, what's the library and what's the foundation. So maybe, Misty and Patrick, could you each tell us just a little bit more about the roles of your organizations, the library and the foundation, and how the work that you do relates to our public libraries? And so Misty, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if libraries are what I think the great equalizer. So really, libraries are about making sure that we're providing access to information. And it's about, the San Diego Public Library's vision is the place for opportunity, discovery, and inspiration. And so we take that very seriously in everything that we do, all of the services, all of the programs that we do, because we want to be that one place that everyone can come to in their community and have the opportunity to learn something, to better themselves, to be inspired, and then in turn inspire others. And that's really what it is. It is about breaking down barriers, providing access, and giving everyone the opportunity to be their best self. And because we are a trusted organization, and we're the one organization really in every society that anyone can come regardless of their circumstances. And we pride ourselves on that. So that is what we are here for. We want the best San Diego. We want the best community, and we want the best world. And what I do is I get to be the cheerleader for all of the things that we do in order to achieve that. And this job is, I say it all the time, it's humbling for me, and it's the best job in the world because we have an opportunity to make a difference every day. And that is what we're here to do, is to make sure that everyone has the chance to be better and to get what they need. And we redefine ourselves in order to meet that community need. And that's what we're constantly doing, is looking at what does the community need now and how do we fulfill that.
That's awesome, Misty. And I know that you eat, live, and breathe that. And whenever I talk to you, she's like, it's just not the best library system in California. Like, we are and strive to be the best library system, like, globally in the universe. And I'm like, I know you believe that. And I love that, we talk a lot about access and equity, the great equalizer. And I think, Misty, you and your staff go so far and well and beyond to continue to strive for that, right? We're continually pushing that meatball up the hill. How can we be better for everybody in our community? And I just love that every time I talk to you. All right, let's move over to Patrick. Patrick, and again, I love our foundation, but I would love for you just to share a little bit more about the foundation. Can you tell us more about our mission of the foundation? And
Sure.
Can you talk about advocacy and outreach and all the fun things that we love doing?
Well, that's it in a nutshell right there. The mission of the foundation is to strengthen our communities by supporting the excellence in the San Diego Public Library system, especially what Misty was just talking about. And we do this through philanthropy, advocacy, and outreach. So I like to think that the foundation serves as a conduit, really, for the general public and for the philanthropic community to get in and support our library system, both through financial contributions and through in-kind support. And so recently, some of these examples have included our support of the library's efforts to create digital and technological accessibility for patrons, like Misty was talking about. And of course, that's become very apparent this year, more than ever before. We support highly impactful programs like Library Next. It's a collaboration between the library, UCSD Extension, and the foundation, and it provides some quality additional STEM and STEAM education for middle and high school students. We support programs like Career Online High School and Read San Diego, which provides education programs for adult learners. And then we also have the joy of working with library teams and creating spaces within branches that are designed to create engagement among community members and inspire creativity. So think the idea labs and the tech labs and the maker spaces, that kind of thing. Yes, Wendy, like you said, we also support the library and assist in some of its outreach and communications efforts. And then one of the most important things that we do is that we play a role in advocating for the library when it comes to public support. And so through the creation of Libraries Transform SD, which is our coalition with the Friends of the Public Library and the Library Commission, we have successfully argued for the addition of programming dollars, for example, and the preservation of core library services, library hours, and library branches when necessary.
Awesome, thank you. I'm always impressed at, I think back to, and I'm going to date myself, but I'm going to think back to what I thought libraries, right? It was books, and you look at just the breadth of all that libraries offer, and that what the foundation does in concert with the library and the Friends and the Commission to really make this incredible system and resource for our community, in the heart of our community. And then 2020 hit, right? March 13th, I remember it was my birthday. Like, for a birthday party, we're going to shut everything down. And so, not to minimize, families, loved ones. We had a lot of losses this year. I run a nonprofit. I mean, everybody has been impacted, including the library. And so I would just love for you to share a little bit about how some of the challenges that arose in 2020 and how that affected the library and the foundation, and what kind of pivots did your organization have to make? I mean, I think if there's one word I never want to say again in the new year is pivot or reimagine, but you both had to reimagine quickly with no playbook. So Misty, maybe you can start off by talking a little bit about the pivot and flying the plane without a map in the air, refueling while it's moving.
Yeah, so March 13th, the library closed its doors. And I think that is the most, I never thought that I would ever say that. The library closed its doors. We closed 2 public services from March until May. And then in June, we started curbside or pickup services to offer some type of pickup service. And then in the fall, we have opened up to limited services and back to allowing some people back in some of our buildings to use computers and done some outdoor computer labs. But we really, like I said, pivot's the catchphrase of 2020. We had to think, okay, we're not open. We can't invite people into our buildings. How do we still serve the public? How do we still serve the community? And my team, I'm telling you, when Patrick says librarians are superheroes, it's true. They pivoted so quickly. And I mean, the next day they were online offering virtual programs and virtual services. Literally the next day, just to continue to keep that engagement, to let people know that we were still here. We were still in the buildings, answering the phones, answering emails, trying to provide the services that we could as best as possible. But it's been really devastating for us, because we want, I was walking through here yesterday, and I'm just like, I'm so ready to see people in this building, sitting at the table and using every computer. I'm so ready for people to be back in the building. And, but it has been it's been a constant just redefining every single day. Okay, this is a new community need. How do we do this? People need to apply for jobs. How do we offer this online? How do we offer, what can we do to help people with, assistance and still voting? We were ballot drop-off locations. We tried to fit anything that we could in this new environment that we're in. And, it's going to continue like that. I think that we will, when we do reopen, we're going to reopen to a different need and different community. And we're really going to have to think, okay, how do we help in this recovery? So, but the foundation has been, and I'll say, and I know, Patrick, you're going to talk a little bit more about this, but the foundation's support has been so crucial to us being able to offer the services. We saw our online resources increase almost 300%, the use of online resources. I'm sorry.
The library will be closing in 15 minutes. If you are checking out materials, Please proceed to checkout
Sorry.
at this time.
They're doing the closing message here. I'm in the office. But the outdoor labs, we opened in lower income areas to make sure, because we were finding that people were not using the pickup services in some of our branches because they use the library for very different reasons. They come there to use computers. And we know we needed to offer that resource. And so we were able to open outdoor labs, but the foundation enabled us to be able to have computers that we could loan out for people who did not have their own device to come and use. They provided funding to increase our ebook collection, which, you know, the circulation of ebooks has gone up 78% since March. So just the support has really enabled us to keep up and to keep meeting community need.
Yeah.
Well, great work, Misty. That's the perfect segue into Patrick and how the foundation has helped support that pivot. But just, you know, I know we talk about this at the commission meetings, but Misty, please know how much the community, we really appreciate you and every library person and staff. We talk a lot about, you know, what's a first responder, and there's amazing first responders in the hospitals and our law enforcement and our firefighters. But, you know, we know that libraries are essential, and, you know, they're trying to homeschool their families and work at the library and keep it open and say why we can or can't open. And so really just great work, and know that it's very much appreciated now more than ever. So with that, let me just move over to Patrick. I know this is going quickly. We could spend all day. I know we just got a few minutes on this question, but Patrick, talk a little bit about the pivot, please, and what the Library Foundation was able to do.
Clearly, you know, the biggest challenge that we faced, you know, is the same thing that most organizations face. Like Misty said, like you said, we were at work on March 13th and then, you know, went into quarantine right afterwards. And of course, you know, these challenges aren't unique to us by any means, but, you know, with this board and the staff as professional and dedicated to the library as ours is, you know, being able to work together as a team and getting this stuff done has been, you know, nothing short of remarkable, really. The pivots, again, you know, that word, they came pretty fast. You know, as soon as the library, the door was shut, you know, patrons, like Misty was saying, they turned quickly to the electronic services at the library. And I think by the end of the following week, you know, we were able to provide, you know, almost $30,000 to the library so that they can acquire additional ebook licenses. You know, and then shortly thereafter, as the COVID cases rose, you know, we noticed that the medical and the frontline staff had severe shortages of PPE. And so we had the ability to spring into action working with the library's tech staff. And we were able to acquire several new high-speed, high-volume 3D printers and all the materials so that they could print directly from the Central Library's third floor makerspace. I mean, that's really crucial here. Thousands of face shields and masks for our friends at Scripps and Kaiser and the city of San Diego's frontline workers. And there's still PPE that's being sent down to Tijuana right now as we speak. And then, as Misty was saying, you know, library staff found themselves creating more digital content and needing better tools so that they could do that. And we were able to work with Misty and her team and acquire some new computers for the staff at the branches that gave them better access to the tools and communications they needed to create and deliver some of these programs. And then when the school year started, we had the opportunity to work with our partners at Computers to Kids San Diego. And we were able to purchase and deliver hundreds of laptops to students that are participating in like Library Next, Career Online High School, Read San Diego, because all of these programs are now being delivered virtually, 100% virtually. And then most recently, like Misty said, we've been able to support her effort in the City of San Diego's Access for All program, providing laptops and the equipment so that the library can bring the computer labs outdoors, making sure that those patrons that use the library for that reason still can continue to do so. I can tell you, Wendy, that, you know, prior to mid-March, none of this kind of support had been envisioned, none of it. You know, but the generosity of our donors, our collaborations, partners, you know, we were quickly and consistently able to support the library's, you know, really pressing needs, and will continue to do so.
Thank you. And Patrick, I wish you could spend longer on it, but maybe just in a nutshell, what was your most valuable lesson about libraries that you learned over this past year, if there is one? I mean, and again, I want to compliment you on your acknowledgement of our sponsors and our donors and our board members and our volunteers, and the community just came together to say, we're filling the need, we're going to support it. And and that's been amazing. But what might be one thing that you look back on as a
You
valuable?
know, one of the most valuable lessons I think that we all learned about libraries this year isn't necessarily new at all, right? Libraries and librarians are essential. They're the cornerstone to so much of how we learn and communicate and connect to community, our democracy, our development and growth in the humanities and that kind of thing. And, you know, when the pandemic hit, we saw a rush towards all of this. And of course, everything's now being delivered virtually or digitally. But, you know, libraries have always played this vital and essential role in our lives. And I'll be honest with you, very often we take for granted those really important institutions that we rely on, you know, thinking that they're just always going to be there. And when that foundation gets shaken, we recognize how necessary they are. And then we're reminded of the vital role that they play. And I think that that lesson, you know, kind of adds to that theme of a hopeful new year, knowing that the library, its supporters, its patrons will continue to be there in so many new and innumerable ways, you know, for the community in 2021, you know.
I love it. Well, I keep saying I'm wishing everyone a kinder and gentler 2021, and I think we are moving in that direction. I've seen the best of humanity, right, come out through all this. So, you know, the goal again for tonight is really, as Patrick mentioned, to set a hopeful tone for the new year. So we are going to move into our fun little interactive section of the program, and we are going to talk about origami cranes. So if you know a little bit about origami cranes, so they're symbols of hope and peace and health and good luck, right? And we need a lot more of that for the new year. So we have a little activity for you all. So it's a symbolic way to make our positive thoughts, hopes, and aspirations for 2021 tangible. So we're bringing on the experts now, because it's not me, to help us guide us through the crane folding process. I will turn it over to Kent and Marissa. So Kent will, this is super cool, Kent will narrate the instructions and Marissa will demonstrate. So I will let them take it away. And here we go.
Okay, hello everyone. All right, give me 1 second. I actually cannot see the cranes real quick. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, everyone. Are you guys able to see the cranes? Okay, perfect.
I am actually not able to see my own hands folding, so.
Okay, so I can see you, Marissa. So I will.
Can't see. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna start off with square piece of paper. It doesn't matter the size. We usually recommend around 6 by 6 inches, just because it's a nice, easy foldable size. Okay. So for the cranes, we are going to start in one corner and we're going to fold the paper in half. All right, and then we want to make sure that all of the creases that we make today are going to be nice and sharp. So we want to make sure that we're folding along the creases really nicely, okay? And then the next step, we're going to open it up and then we're going to fold it the opposite way. All righty, and once again, nice and crispy edges, okay? And then the next step, we are gonna unfold it, and then we're gonna fold it diagonally on itself. All right. Next, after that, we make sure the edges are nice and crispy. Unfold it, and then we're gonna rotate the paper, and then fold it one last time the opposite way. So if you look at your paper now and you unfold it, you should see there should be about 8 folds, okay? And everything meets in the middle. All right, we're gonna rotate the paper diagonally like so, keep it on the back, and then we're gonna pinch one of the corners together, like that. All right. And then if you look at it, you should see a square on one side, and then you'll see a triangle on the other side. And then with that triangle, we're gonna push that triangle in towards the square, okay? Alrighty, and then make sure everything's nicely folded. And then if you look at the bottom of it, you'll see that there is like a hole, and then there's 2 edges and 2 holes, okay? We're gonna have that facing you.
Your attention, please.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Will be closing in 5 minutes. Please proceed to the
All right, the next step is we're gonna fold this edge into the middle along the middle line that we just created, and it's gonna look like a kite. All right, and then next we're gonna fold the opposite side in as well. This is going to be the wings and the neck of the cranes that we're creating, okay? And then I want you guys to flip it over to the opposite side, and we're gonna repeat that exact same step. We're gonna fold it in like a kite. All right, and then the same on the other side as well. All right, so now you should be holding your kite in your hand, like so, both sides, okay? The next step is we're gonna fold this top triangle along this line that we just created. All right, we're gonna fold that, press that down nicely, and then we're gonna unfold it and then fold it the opposite way on itself, like so. Okay, and then this part, we're gonna undo one side of the flaps, and it's very important. If you wanna move your crane up a little bit, Marissa, there you go, perfect. The next step is we're gonna open it up, and we're gonna put your finger in there. It's gonna hinge along the line that we just created, okay? And then we're gonna fold it in. It should not be hard to fold these in because they should fold along the crease that we've already created, okay? I'm gonna do the same to the opposite side, which forms a diamond, like so, okay? Next, we're gonna flip it around and then repeat the same steps. So we're gonna unfold it and it's gonna hinge on itself at the top part right there. And then we're gonna push in this middle, and it's gonna slowly form a diamond on this side, and on the other side as well too. Okay, so your crane right now should end up looking like a diamond right now. At the bottom, you'll see that there's a little slit, which makes kind of like your legs, okay, of the diamond. The next step is we're gonna fold the straight edge of that into the middle line itself, okay? Like so. All right, just like that, we're gonna fold it into the middle. And then repeat the same step on the opposite side. Alrighty. And then after that, we're gonna flip it around. And we're gonna do the exact same step on the opposite side as well. So this right here, we are currently forming the neck of the crane. All right, repeat it. All right. So now if you look at it, you still see a diamond shape, but you have your slit down at the bottom, okay? And if you notice, there's two edges on either side. We're gonna grab that and we're gonna fold those into the middle like so. All right, which leaves two at the back. And we're gonna take those two at the back and fold that in on itself that way. So now if you look, you'll see kind of a diamond, but you'll see the slit is at the top now. And you'll notice there's a line in the middle. We're gonna fold the bottom part of it along that line up, okay? And then flip it around. We're gonna do the exact same step to that, fold it up. And then what you wanna do now is we're gonna grab one layer of the crane right there like so, and pinch it together. And we're gonna do the other side and pinch it together as well too, okay? Now the next step, we are gonna grab one of the pointy ends in the middle of the crane, not the big wings, but the small pointy ends. We're gonna take that and pull it out as far as you want. And then if you notice where Marissa's fingers are, pinch that to lock it in wherever you want it to, okay? So if you want it out a little bit further, you can. If you want it in closer towards the wings, you can too, okay? So do the same to the opposite side. And then pinch down at the bottom to lock it in. And then this next step is critical. We're gonna pick the nicer of the two edges, okay? So Marissa, she's picking the right side, which is nicer. We're gonna take your finger and push it down like so, just a small little bend, and then you're gonna pinch where the bend is to create the crane's beak. It's gonna lock the beak into place, and that is your finished crane. Now the next step is we're gonna fluff it now, okay? So we're gonna fluff it to make it nice and majestic. Now if you hold onto the wings softly and you pull softly, the middle should expand a little bit and stop when you feel like it's under pressure.
The library is now closed. Please proceed to the exit. Thank you.
All right, and then you're gonna pull, but don't pull too much. If you start hearing it rip in the middle, then you've pulled too much and you should stop there, okay? Thank you guys for watching our crane video. If you guys need further instructions, we have, someone will post the video in the link. Thank you.
That was awesome. Okay, so if you ended up making an airplane, it's okay. You just made your best effort. If you were able to make a crane, you can deposit them in the book drops, which will be cool. So here's my little guy, and he kind of looks like a dying dinosaur, but I tried my best. And actually, I'm kidding. I didn't make this. This was given to me when I was a child. I totally did not make it. So if you didn't make it, you're not alone. But thank you, Kent and Marissa, for that fun craft. And really, it's just thinking a little bit about moving into peace in the new year. And I love that we were able to do that. And like I said, librarians are way more talented than me because I couldn't do that. That was fun though. All right. So as we move forward into a hopeful and joyful new year with better things ahead, Patrick, can you talk and share with us a little bit about the main priorities for the library, our library foundation going into 2021, please?
Sure. Yeah, we believe that everyone, Misty touched on this earlier, everyone deserves the opportunity to succeed. And we also believe that the library really plays a key vital role in providing those opportunities. And our main priority as we go into 2021 will be centered on supporting that role. San Diegans are and will be faced with, new economic and academic and cultural and social environments next year. And as the library is poised to assist in navigating that environment, the foundation and its supporters will continue to work with Misty and her team to identify the kind of programs and community outreach and other areas that we can provide support. One significant priority that I didn't mention that the foundation is focused on is the completion of the new library master plan. And this takes a keen look at how libraries are serving communities both today and in the future. And the master plan will be able to provide the city with a blueprint towards some better building usage, better technologically equipped branches, and hopefully a roadmap to broad, equitable service delivery so that every citizen would be able to have equal access to these impactful library services. And we're going to continue to prioritize equitable access and the distribution of computers and resources so that those who look to the library to further enhance their education, either STEM programs or literacy or academic tech or entrepreneurial programs, that they have the ability to do so. And then finally, we'll work alongside our partners, the Friends and the Commission, to diligently advocate for public funding that's necessary this year more than ever to not only maintain the vital library services, but to expand those services to meet, as we already have seen this year, a growing demand of that need. So those are our priorities this year, and we're excited to tackle those with both of you and with everyone else here.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Misty, so how do those priorities align with what your department will be focused on? Yeah. I know you guys work closely together, so here's an easy one for you.
Yeah, we do. Patrick said it perfectly, and it's really about equity, and that is what we will be focusing on. And I think now even more so, inequity has always been an issue, but this pandemic has really shown that in some of our underserved communities have been hit exceptionally hard. And so we want to make sure that when we are providing services and reopening, that we're focusing on that we're focusing on helping people recover, that we're focusing on helping people get jobs, even small businesses recover, that's what we're doing. Continuing, a lot of the services that we've implemented during our closure, we want to continue. We want to find a way to continue this online presence that we have, to continue providing the outdoor labs. So it's going to be about okay, how do we get back to the services that we had before, but then how do we do new services that are going to be very much needed by the community? And then the master plan is always, it's so needed. The current master plan is so out of date, and we know that we need to really look at what San Diego can be and what it should be. in the future, and this is going to help us get there.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Misty. So Patrick, we have a new mayor, Mayor Todd Gloria. So can you tell us a little bit about where the library and foundation are fitting into newly elected Mayor Gloria's overall plan for the city?
Well, I can tell you I'm personally pretty inspired when I hear Mayor Gloria's vision to bring San Diego into the future. He talks about really making San Diego a big city. At the heart of that, I believe, are the institutions that exist to inspire us and sort of give us a deeper sense of community. That kind of a city, to me, exists when at the center of it is a world-class library, strongly supported by both its public and private sectors, and of course that support being facilitated by a strong library foundation and a core group of supporters that believe in this. I think that we have a very library-friendly administration, and I'm really looking forward to working with Mayor Gloria's office and the entire City Council. We have new City Council members as well, to ensure that the library remains a vital, essential part of our community. But I can see that the core tenets of the library really do fit into so many of our broader community plans. And when we talk about building out community, creating equitable communities, bringing access to everyone in the community, we talk about community a lot, and the center of that is the library. And so I think the library can really play a key role in everyone's plans this year.
Awesome. And, I want to just say kudos, Patrick, to the foundation. I don't know if everyone knows, but the foundation, in collaboration with the Friends and the Commission, our Libraries Transform group, met ahead of time with all the City Council candidates to talk about the library and share about what we do. So I was very fortunate to get to be a part of some of those meetings, and I just really appreciate the advocacy ahead of time, getting in front of, here's what you need to know about our absolutely amazing library system, and where do you stand? So I love that. Again, lots of great leadership coming from the foundation and the Friends and the Commission to talk about the great work that we're doing. And so I think excited for Mayor Gloria to work with us together. And we provide a great essential service that we've been talking about. Awesome. So, Mr. and Patrick, can you just each take a moment and share with us your vision of how your organization will make a difference in the community in 2021? You've done a heck of a job in this last year, so I don't know how you could have taught yourself maybe more of the awesomeness. But Misty, why don't you take that question?
Yeah, I am so ready for 2021.
Yes, we are.
It's got to be better, right? And this is something that I've said several times, and I think this is truly going to be something that everyone is going to see, and that is that the library is an essential part of the educational and the economic ecosystem. Yep. And the library is going to play a major role in the recovery of this community. We will be the ones who, will be the place that people can come to apply for their benefits, to apply for jobs, that small businesses can come to, for assistance, education. And we're already doing that with the Do Your Homework at the Library program. Has gone online and is providing tutoring for kids who are at home, and relief for their parents who are trying to help them with their home.
Amen.
And it's just boosting that. So if there's anything that, everybody keeps, we talk about the library being essential, and I do think that this has shown what a role we play in the success and, the vitality of this community. And we're going to continue to do that. And we will, my focus is that we will redefine ourselves once again, fit the community need. And whatever that community need is, we're gonna fit that, and we're gonna meet those needs. So that is the goal for the next year, and the goal is to open those doors and get people back in the buildings. So that is number one on my list.
Yeah.
Thank you, Misty. We're all crossing our fingers, and we know it's a complex thing sometimes to make that happen. You got smaller square footage and the percentages of people that can be in there. Like, we'd love to open them tomorrow, but there's all these things we have to do
Yes.
to get that to happen. Believe me, we all want to be open. So, all right, Patrick, your turn.
Well, the foundation is going to continue to bring more and more San Diegans into the library family in the coming year. That's a big goal of ours. We intend to have the master plan completed and adopted in 2021, but again, not without broad and really far-reaching community input. My personal vision is to ensure that every voice that wants to contribute to the development of the master plan has the opportunity to do so. And I see an even deeper partnership with Misty and her team, ensuring that she and the rest of our hero librarians have the resources necessary to continue to bring the impact they bring to our community in countless ways, not just this coming year, but for years to come. In order to do so, you and I both know that we're going to need a lot of community support in advocating for public funding for the library. This year, it's going to be essential. And I see that the foundation and Library Transform SD's role in advocacy is going to be as important as it ever has been. However, I do think that we'll come through our current situation stronger with a fresh lens on the impact that San Diego's libraries have on our communities, and certainly with a renewed sense of hope, knowing that our libraries will always be here.
Well, nice work, Misty and Patrick, in sharing just a little glimpse into our hopeful 2021. Really appreciate both of your efforts. I just also want to give, we're going to go into our Q&A, and the lovely Miss Natalie will lead that. So I'm going to sign off my portion of moderating, but I do want to just give a quick shout out to our library staff, who are our library staff and our library foundation staff, both of whom are working behind the scenes to make tonight's program possible, and to our sponsors and our donors who've really stepped up to bring things like this to you and to everyone that's joined at the end of your busy day during dinner time, and the laundry can just wait till next year, right? That's what I'm saying. Just leave it till next year. All right. So with that, if y'all have questions, Miss Natalie Gantz will take care of you. I'm going to say I'm not hanging up. I'm going to still be on, but you don't have to hear from me anymore. But thank you, Misty and Patrick. Really wonderful job. And take it away, Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for moderating that wonderful discussion. And my thanks to Kent and Marissa. Here's my little crane. I used magazine paper, and I want to assure, I see people in the chat who are a little concerned about their cranes. Not to worry, even if my imperfect crane can make it into the display, so can yours. I will be donating or dropping off mine, so I encourage you to do the same. We have several questions, and I also love all of these comments that we've received about how much people appreciate the library. 2 people said they use the library as their ballot drop-off location. Just a comment about how the library is such a crucial pillar of our democracy. And I love hearing these comments about people who are just enjoying using and benefiting from their library. So some of these questions, some good ones. Misty, can you talk more about the SD Access for All initiative, specifically how the library is involved?
Yes. So in last year's budget, the council really wanted to address digital equity in the San Diego community and really the lack of digital equity. And so they set aside some funding for that. And, the library really is kind of poised to almost be the conduit for all things equity, digital equity. And so what we're doing is we have outdoor computer labs that we've opened now in 10 different locations in low to moderate income areas, where people can come, they can either borrow a laptop, they can bring their own device. We've boosted the Wi-Fi outside the buildings in these areas, and so people can use those outside. We are also, the city is also purchasing hotspots that we will be lending. We do lend hotspots already out of the local lab. And so we will be expanding that to be loaning Wi-Fi hotspots in these same communities. There's going to be 500 of them. And so I'm hoping in July, early July, we've got that lending program open. And then we're really focusing on digital literacy. I mean, that's, you know, just because you give someone a device or you give them a hotspot doesn't mean they know how to use it. And so that's the next step, is digital literacy. And we'll be working in a partnership with the Parks and Recreation Department on training people and making sure that they not only have the device or the resources, but they also know how to use it. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning steps. You know, digital equity is a big issue. The digital divide is still very, very much a problem in this community. And we really need to do something to address it.
Yeah, great. And I think both Misty and Patrick might have some insight on this next question. What do you anticipate the city budget process will be like this spring? And what is the Library Foundation doing to prepare?
It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
That's not hopeful New Year. It's going to be difficult. This city is facing a significant budget deficit this year again because of COVID and the revenues really being down, you know, having the city pretty much closed for 8 months, you know, the revenues and transportation occupancy tax has been down. So it's going to be a difficult year. And I think that this is where advocacy is such, and we saw this last year, right? We saw some, you know, potential big budget cuts for libraries last year. And the advocacy completely turned that around. And we didn't see any cuts last year. I don't know if we'll be, you know, lucky like that again. We'll probably see some cuts, but I think that advocacy is really where it comes into making sure that people understand what an essential service the library is. And then, like Patrick said, we have new council members to educate on this whole process as well.
Yeah, I think that the education piece is going to be a key component to the advocacy this year. You know, as Wendy said, when a group of us through Libraries Transform SD met with the city council candidates prior to the general election in October, you know, we heard from all of them, yes, libraries are great, we love our libraries, and, you know, this kind of thing. And then very often they, you know, we would talk about, you know, what libraries meant for me as a kid, you know, that kind of thing. But really where we're at now is trying to ensure that the broadest and most essential kind of components of libraries, the way that they operate now and the way that they're going to operate, as Misty was talking about, to assist, you know, in the recovery going forward in the future, that our elected officials understand, really inherently understand what that means for the community to be able to provide economic development, education, entrepreneurial services, you know, this kind of thing. Libraries, you know, as everyone here knows, you know, goes way beyond books and words. Really, it's essential community services, and so we've already started our education process with our council members. We will be hosting. The Libraries Transform SD will be hosting a State of the City watch party on January 13th to sort of formally kick off our advocacy efforts. And part of that will include an opportunity to get everyone here involved, to send postcards, emails, calls to the city council members. You know, one of the things that I found so powerful during the budget hearings last spring with the amount of people that called in saying how important their libraries are to not only them and their families, but their communities as a whole. And I think that bringing that groundswell of people together was the kind of thing that, you know, really supported, you know, some of the positive budget turn last year. And so we'll be, you know, reaching out to our community to build a really strong coalition around advocacy. And we're starting right as soon as the new year hits. So
Yeah, Patrick, that's great to emphasize how there are so many ways that community members can support the library. And advocacy is one of them. Make your voice be heard, join us. We have a lot of fun together while we do it. And we have a question from our beloved trustee, Judy Wanker. She wonders if we have any rough guesses on when the Downtown Central Library will reopen.
Judy, I wish it was opening tomorrow. As the governor extended the stay-at-home order today, I really can't. I can't even fathom a guess at this point. We really do have to be, I think, in a downward trend for a considerable amount of time before we start reopening and adding on services. So we've got, the limited services here still, 20% capacity. And I think that we'll, very kind of incrementally and methodically move up from there as soon as, things start to get better, and hopefully, we'll have the vaccine being widely distributed and really kind of start to get back into what everybody's calling our new sense of normal. But I think that, I think we're going to be probably in the same situation for at least another couple of months before we start adding more services. So,
yeah. Our next question is, how many communities still need a library?
That's an interesting one.
That's a good question.
That is a good question. We have so many communities that need so many current communities that have a library that need a renovation or a new library. So, the one that I can say that I think has been on a plan, has been in a community plan, and there's never been any real solid plan is Otay East. And so that's been one that has been mentioned. You have San Ysidro, you have Otay, Mesa, but it's that other side of Otay. And I can't really, there's just so many needs in the current libraries that we have now. It's hard to say we would do a new library in another community when we really need to take care of the ones that we have.
Yeah. And that might be something that our library master plan can help guide us in identifying where the communities of greatest need are and where we need to focus the most. This is Patrick. This question is right in our wheelhouse for you and me, which is, do you plan to have an annual fundraising event in the future?
Well, considering our gatherings and, that kind of thing, I think are still going to be largely shut off for a while. That lends me to say no, we do not see a large fundraising event in the future. And then two, I think, one of the things that that this pandemic and then conversations with, some of our stakeholders even prior to the quarantine led us to try to imagine, how many different ways library supporters can engage with the foundation and the library, right? So there's already so many different ways that patrons engage with libraries. And so we as a foundation should be creating those many different ways for supporters to engage with the foundation to support the library, right? So the library isn't just the circulation desk. It's idea labs, it's technology, it's teen centers, it's community hubs, it's ballot drop-offs, this kind of thing. And so I think, and this is, I'll speak personally, I think to envision, one central event that's going to speak to every library supporter does sort of a disservice to the way that the community interacts with institutions like the library. And so we had already begun talking about trying to create more impactful, intimate engaging opportunities for Library Foundation supporters and patrons to connect with the library and to connect with Misty and her team, and to be able to really sort of, feel and understand what that impact is. And you get more of that through smaller events. And I think what the pandemic has shown us is that we're going to be required to think along those lines. And I think that it's going to be exciting. It's going to stretch our imagination and require us to get a little creative and create more opportunities like this.
Great. The only other question I saw was about, and Patrick, I think you'll find this a little, you'll enjoy this question because it's a question I asked when we envisioned this event, and I said, I'm very concerned about crane safety. Will cranes be harmed in the book drop? And we researched this, and to date, none have been harmed. So you can drop your crane with confidence that it will be entirely safe and used in the library's Cranes for Peace display, which there will be one at the Central Library and also one that travels around through the branches. So your cranes will be appreciated far and wide. We are coming to the end of our program, and it's been so wonderful to see all the familiar names, new names, to have this opportunity to share with Misty, Patrick, Wendy, Kent, and Marissa about the joyful and impactful library work. So thank you all for being part of this program. If you would like to learn more about the library and Library Foundation impact and how you can support this work, there are links in the chat. And as we've said, we will send all of these links and all of this information to you by email. So it's okay if you didn't catch it the first time around. Also, a reminder of what Patrick mentioned, the Libraries Transform SD Coalition, which is the Library Foundation, the Friends of the Library, and the Library Commission, all working together to advocate and increase the number of voices speaking out and speaking up for the library. We will host a State of the City viewing party on January 13th. So as Mayor Gloria makes his first State of the City address, we can all watch it together, and you can participate in our postcard writing campaign. And to close us out, I will remind everybody of what we shared with you in the invitation, is that this was also an invitation for you to enjoy your celebratory beverage of choice while we acknowledge Library and Library Foundation impact. I chose a nice vintage sparkling water with a lemon inside. And so this is a great moment to raise your glass, celebrate your library, and on behalf of the San Diego Public Library Foundation, our Board of Trustees, and our staff, I wish you all well in the new year.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you.